Alright guys, I have a project to do today that's kind of in the middle of everything, and I've got to frame up a doorway for my shed. The wind came up yesterday and blew off the tarp that I had up there temporarily. So I'm going to go ahead and I figured I'd show you guys how to frame it up. I'm sure there's lots of videos on YouTube about framing, but I'm going to frame a man door into the swinging door that's going to be the front of the shed, so I thought that might make for an interesting video. A couple of these boards had mold on them, so I sprayed bleach water on them to kill the mold. I didn't realize that till after I selected them, so I know that works. And that's just a side note. I'll show you the shed. So this is the shed that the wind blew the door out of. Right now it's where I'm housing one of my project cars, but so we'll go ahead and get started framing. I think I'm just going to leave it here and you guys can watch, and periodically I'll explain what I'm doing. So I'm going to lay out on the bottom plate where the studs go. They're on 16-inch centers, but when you measure off the end, it's 16 to center, obviously. So it's actually 15 and a quarter. And what I do is I mark the left side of the stud and then put an X next to it where the stud actually goes. And I just go back 3/4 of an inch on every number because that's half the stud. You might be able to hear a chicken laying eggs over there. And then I'll come back through and use the square. And I'm going to do, let's see if you guys can see me. I'm going to do a double bottom plate because I'll probably need the strength for the door to sit on. So you'll need, for this project, framing nails, tape measure, speed square. I use a pencil. You can use a pencil or a pen. Cut those off. Get along. And then your boards won't be straight. A lot of times they'll have a bow in them. So I just work my way down. I'll shoot them in at an angle so they don't poke through. Alright, so the bottom plates are together. Cut those off. I shot 2 straight through, and I'll need to use a grind cutoff wheel and cut those off because they're poking through. My wall's 10 feet tall, so I got a bunch of 2x10s out here. Alright, one of the things you can do to match your plates up is just set, normally I'd set them next to each other, but now that I've got this one plate double thick, I'll just stack them like this. And just make your mark on the plate where your other marks are, and that way you'll get them exactly lined up instead of relying on taping it. You can just go down the line here and hit your marks exactly. And again, I'm left-handed, so all my marks are on the left side. Now I'm going to try to add the door on a king stud so I can use the king. Am I going to add it on a king or a trimmer? I'll use the common as a king and put the trimmer next to it, just so it's one less board I have to put in. So that's the top plate there. And for the price of a stud, see, that cups up. I put them opposite so when I nail them together it takes the curve out. So these go like that. What I was going to say though is I'll do a top plate. Studs are cheap. A double top plate, that is. And I'll put an L on these so I know which is the left side. That way I don't flip them around accidentally. I'm sure that's happened to somebody before. Whoa, 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 whoa! This fucking dog did it. Kick it right in its gonads. Alright, my top and bottom plate are done.